Yeah. Okay, trying not run. This is the first time I'm doing this. Hi, developer, how are you? Hello. I'll do a screen share in a minute. Hi, developer. Hello. I'll do a screen share in a minute. Bear with me. Just doing some housekeeping. I'm a new channel, so bear with us. Note for more. Yeah, I'm just starting out. It's about the mind. I'm new channel, so bear with us. Life, eh? Yeah, I'm ready to subscribe to you. So, okay, so what I'm going to do, let's get this website. I did have it just a minute ago, actually. That's my website. I'm multitasking. Here we go. Let me screen share first. That would help. Right. Screen share in Melon app. I am about to do. Share the chat would help. 7 o'clock UK time. Right. Screen share. So yeah, I'm ready to subscribe to you. Share system audio. And that's to share the screen. So this is a website I'm about to share. Let's get this website. Right, this is one streaming. Let me just check it's coming up on my phone. Let's see how it appears. I'm multitasking. Here we go. Let's screen share first. This is me. Right. Screen share and Melon app. It should not be a delay. It should come up. Let me just check. 7 o'clock UK time. Right, screen share. Right, okay, it should come up on the screen. Right, screen share. Right, okay, it should come up on the screen. Right, screen share. Right, okay, it should come up. Oh, you have to excuse the hacking. That is really badly hacked. I am getting hacked bad. The subjects I used to share with the channel got took down. Right, you just got blank screen. Let's go back. Right. Why is not showing? Okay, let's try this again. Okay, I'm just checking this. There we go. To refresh. Oh, this is ridiculous. No, I'll tell you what I'm doing wrong. It should come up on YouTube channel. Let me just double check. This is, I don't know, the Mind Control, the Ultimate Terror page is showing. Okay, let me just go back. I'll see what I'm doing. Right, let me go back. I've got to show this. This is it. Done it. Right. This is a page. They just pop out the chat for the moment. Oh, we have to excuse the noise. So let's see if I can close the chat down for the moment. I am getting hacked. I usually pay for this stream. Not do it at the moment. Here we go. I don't think I can increase. There might be an increase of pound. Let me go up a bit. Trauma-based mind control, basically experiments, not the subject. I need to mute the feedback. Yeah, the mic's on. Let's see how it shows across. Okay, so what I shall be showing, it's coming across on the screen. The website is educateyourself.org, and let me just mute my feedback on the user channel. Let me just check it's coming across on here. Yes, it is. Right. So let me go back where I was. Okay, so basically, this is about military black ops subjects, operations, Milo Labs, NK Ultra, mind control programs. This is, there's videos as well, one can watch. I prefer to watch videos. The history of the mind control monitor program, trauma-based mind control, via the CIA NK Ultra program back in the history, and it goes back to the Nazi period, war year, World War II operations designed in the Project Paperclip. The history with that is it's secret military underground bases. It's worldwide, and the secret experimentations on without consent, of course, on human individuals. And these military bases are worldwide. And the technology is advanced technology. It's more advanced in 2022 than it was before. Now, the basic, this subject is being misunderstood for quite a while, and it's inhumane medical experimentation. And for what? The patterns and documents. There's quite a few websites I know about which I used to show, and I got close to the truth, so they shut me down. Now, the mind control program individuals, it goes into specifics, and if one's got the time to read, you'll find the Monic project started around about 1976. Now, an AI book, oops, where's my cursor? To perform various demonic things. I won't go into specifics here, but for those new to the channel, my other two channels got took down, so I'm just being careful what I share. There's no longer a conspiracy because the spiritual awakening of the masses actually going on for quite a while now. And the level and chaos of mind control victims have come forward over the years, and well-known people. This is just one. Thanks for the memories. Wow, published 1999. Can you believe that? It goes into the history with America at the time, the fragments of the brain and the mind. And basically goes into recovery memories for NSA, CIA control, goes into the history which do the Clintons, Kennedys, the Henry Kissinger, Bob Hope, and goes into the New World Order, Luciferian agenda. The table of the contents, it goes into more details about her childhood and how she was, there's quite a few people, it goes on worldwide, still does, unfortunately. So these are quite detailed. I won't read it all, but this is nothing new, because when you go on this website and you dig about the subjects and you find the Illuminati, sex slaves, painted horrible picture. I mean, this goes back a few years ago. The future of the mind control, creating, you know, when you've got the interventions for individuals with ritual abuse and satanic, you know, demonic ritual abuse, and the mind control creates dissociation disorders. There's a book from Bryce Taylor here, I think, 2005. And then this is just stays throughout the individual's life. The brain is the ultimate weapon. The human brain to implant, like the Matrix movies and sci-fi movies gets out there. The Neuralink brain device technology for target individuals. Organised stalking is part of it. The psychological tactics. The gaslighting is, again, you know, it's all interlinked to the program. And there's very good websites and blogs out there exposing all this evidence and patterns. The program specifically started the patterns of 40 documents I found. For example, 1940s, just before the war, you know, the Second World War. And then, of course, I've got a late mum. She went through that. Then myself as a kid, my brothers and sisters. So what goes in with this is electronic stalking, harassment, and torture. You've got documents here, neuro monitoring, remote neuro monitoring, and that goes into, this is innocent and this is worldwide. Got the well-known Kathy O'Brien. There's links on his website. It links into technology and how they're absolutely just manipulating of the mind, and why would they want to do that to the masses? If they've done it and tortured people for a long, long time, with testing out the military programs and the technology, and there's all these links on this website, goes into control, the silent massacre, you know, and torture of innocent individuals without them even knowing. You got the harassment, and when it goes into specifics, it goes in, for example, you've got the police, public servants. Some of these people don't even know some of the program exists, and some people do. So not everyone knows, and that's where people going through this, is even say what they're going through, then obviously they will just get more labels put onto them if they don't already have one, and disbelieved and discredited. Now, if you try and report what's happening to one, I personally believe you need to keep a journal or diary evidence, but not every single video or photo you need to do, because it just looks, well, it's up to the individual. Ways of protection, but when you look at the history of, in England, Tavistock Institute, and how the tools and information that's been coming out, why would they want to use the brain as an experiment on these individuals? And the stalking, and it's always been originally the military base. Now it's gone commercial and subcontract out to medical, institutions, and for research purposes. And then you start finding you've got the hacking going on computer. So after the soul, there's not just the brain, upload. You got Amazon TV programs known as upload. And that's all hinting about promoting, if one is deceased, or do you want to be uploaded on a supercomputer for life, your consciousness, your brain. And that is worth looking at from a point of view about the technology available now and the future. So there's one article here, Mind Control with Silent Sounds of Supercomputers, 2005. The technology, your brain interface, supercomputers, D-Wave is already here for a long, long time. Just have a look. So you obviously know about how they're hospitals treating patients with ID implants. So I'm just going to click on that one. Sometimes, oops, well, that's convenient, isn't it? Told you the hacking goes on. Let me try another one. There you go. Neurofeedback and other interventions for people with ritual abuse, mind control, and dissociation disorders. So you just got quick links on here. Abstracts, introductions, brief outline with the mind control technologies. It's not anything to do with fiction, it's all factual. So I'm just checking to see that silver screen sharing. That's just a brief summary of what this channel's about, really. So bear with me while I try and log into this. No matter what device you might have, a phone or computer, when you're monitored and hacked into, my goodness me, when you're put into a program to be monitored, i.e. mind control is just one element. Forget about having any private life or security, because it's all interlinked. Just bear with me while that phone is trying to stop it being hacked. It's a tall order. So I will come back another time with some more details and do what I used to do a lot of, is streaming. Unlimited streaming when time permits, to share some documents, evidence of that. But I have to be very careful, like anybody nowadays, what you share, because the censorship is going on of all sorts. But for those that are waking, are spiritually waking, that just looking for information, to aid them on their journey of awakening, then by all means come back. Right, just putting this away. Just bear with me. Gotta get some of my dinner soon before it gets too late. It's just a short stream, really. I'm hacked out of Discord. All the places where I share my information that might be helpful is compromised already. So that's day in the life of somebody like myself. Then your dreams also, the technology they have to mess about with your dream state, the pattern of the dreams. It sounds like far-fetched. It really does, but it's real. So real. I wish it wasn't, because it's not pleasant. I've recorded the evidence of my dreams, and it's not pleasant at all. Not pleasant. I listen back to it when I'm awake, and it's not pleasant. So I have to be careful what I share publicly on this platform. But no matter what you do online, there's any kind of platform, especially if you're living in England. Like Edward Snowden used to say, you know, many likes of him. Good people out there. Yeah, okay, we'll just check. Whoops. I'll just check this. It's in the hacking Wi-Fi. Okay. Oh, the screeching is going on. Oh, so I'm just going to put this website in the chat. / my control. And this is a start. This is the history, I would say, to start with, historic events from 1940s. And there's really good information out there to research. And there's a project, if you want to research, Project Paperclip. So, and this stream is a short one. It's just a test. Any more software out. Right, oh, by the way, a disclaimer. I get a lot of hacking on here. So if one hears a lot of noise, it is not interference. A lot of noise, like white noise. It's not quite white noise. It's like kind of irritating noise. Right, there you go. Just going to share my stream to somebody I know. Okay, I'll share it somewhere else. Bear with me. There's all sorts of different social media platforms, so it's worth knowing about. Yeah, I can't say which ones though because I'm not going to let powers that be know where else I get my information out to. But I'm sure they know already. And in 5 minutes, I'm just going to end the stream. Mind. Right. Elon Musk is meant to be a good guy, really. Basically, let's have a look. The history of Elon Musk, if you look at him and his grandfather, and he was a chiropractor and flew over the world. He went to South Africa, where has a AI already gone, and how far would it go? Now, the Neuralink and DARPA's Mind Meditech. Now, his mother, born April 1948, was Canadian and South African model. I've already researched this on my old channel and I got it down. And also the mother, excuse me, Elon Musk, and 3 other kids. She had been a model for 50 years, appearing on the covers of magazines and Time magazines. So it goes into a connection. Somebody's made connections. Her ties with the cabal. Born in Canada and a twin of 5 children. And it goes with a photo of her parents as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Her twin sister, Karen Reeves, in a Vanity Fair article 2015 states, America loves a familiar power block from Manuel brothers to the Williams sisters, the Kennedys. But there's something even more intriguing about those Musk and Reeves, even when appears to be their genetically pre-programmed ambition. How did 5 of them grow up to take on some of the problems on the planet and setting goals so lofty as putting civilians in space and transforming household energy uses? This began as an original story. All has a great deal to do with their mothers, Marion and Kay. They are what else? Twins? I'm going to sneeze in a minute, excuse me. Oh, dear. Oh, excuse me. Hair up my nose. May, who was divorced from Ellen in Kimball's father, before Ellen was 10, had 2 Masters of Science degrees, practiced as a dietitian and worked on the side as a model to pay the bills as a single mom. They grew up knowing you work hard, and the harder you work, the better you do, and the luckier you get. She'd recently told a media outlet they also had to be responsible for themselves because they had to help me. Now somebody else goes on. Leon Ilri, whose parents were entrepreneurs in a natural health business, and recently recalled watching his mother Carl work from 7 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night every day. And there's a quote, "We grew up thinking that's what people do, isn't it? That's what's expected," he says. This breed quite a bit of independence and quite a bit of time for the cousins to get up to something. The fact that they didn't even get allowances meant they spent the free time trying to come up ways to make a buck. That they grew up 20 miles away from each other and other made it easier to scheme together. Quote, "We didn't have a lot of oversight with our parents, so there was freedom to get up to mischief. It was a different kind of mischief, although it always had a capitalist bent," Kimball explains. "We were very excited and hungry kids, with many too much of an energy in our hands. Not only were we individually inclined that way, but when you put us together, then it's like, we are, and we are going to do now. Get a bunch of us in a room, and we'll come up with something." End of quote. That's why the older cousins, Ellen at 6 years younger than Ellen, and was left on the fringe of much of their teenage business endeavours, came up with the idea to open an arcade close to their school. Ellen, the ringleader, and his cousin signed the lease and got contracts in place, filed out a snack of forms of the city planning department, and nearly reached the last hurdle of getting a variance before the city told them they were too young and needed an adult to sign it off. Pete's dad just lost it when we went to him to ask, Cabell says. We haven't even mentioned it to him. We didn't even endeavour. I'm going to read all the article I just skimmed through. So basically it goes into the disposition of Ellen. Said came not necessarily from their mothers, but from Mary and Kerry's father and their mutual grandfather, who was actually American. Oddly, from Minnetonka's, I can't pronounce that word, in America. Ellen said at a Solar City event earlier this month, when V.com asked about his relationship with cousins, he had a little private plane that he would fly over the place, all through Africa and Asia. He was the first to fly a private plane from South Africa to Australia without any electronic instruments. Interesting, isn't it? So I think we're lucky to be alive here. Maybe the sort of ambitious spirit in all of us. The only thing that got in the way of their wins was the rule that one of them were allowed to quit everything. I'll repeat that. That's why when the excuse me was a rule that no one of them were allowed to quit anything ever. And that's why when the Wright boys decided as kids that they wanted indeed to take karate, their mother agreed, but they had to see it all the way until the end of black belts. So she was very clear up front. She asked if he was sure told us that we couldn't quit and had to all the way. And we were like, yeah, we love crying. So it just goes into detail how they were being programmed and committed at an early age. Despite the similarities, the boys did have their distinctive quirks. Goes into Ellen as a child, had a hot life. Just bear with us, got interruptions going on. Let's put this away. Just test see if this phone's not working. So basically, it just goes into Ellen Moss, give a new look at the connections. I'm just scanning through the article. So Ellen Moss went to high school. I've read this article before. It's worth. Let me see if I can share the article. No, I couldn't share that, unfortunately. Go back to this. Reaching is going on. Oh, so I'm just going to put this website in the chat. / my control. And this is a start. This is the history, I would say, to start with, historic events from 1940s. And there's really good information out there to research. And there's a project, if you want to research, Project Paperclip. So, this stream is a short one. It's just a test. Putting that software out. Okay, right, here we go. Try to stop. Right, oh, by the way, a disclaimer. Okay. If anybody in England doesn't know, the plan to create public opinion began in 1913. A propaganda factory centred at Wellington House in London. The British Foreign Secretary at the time, Lord Northcliffe, Britain's most influential newspaper magnate, as its director. Now, when you go in to investigate the history of the Tavistock industry, Institute, for example, 1921. Propaganda beyond the First World War. Federal Reserve, the banking industry. The rabbit hole goes deep, and here you go. Capital Institute of Human Relations unknown to people at the United States at the time. Dr. Coleman exposed the essence in his monograph. Now, it's ironic all these years on how it's been used for other things, the location, the building. Psychological therapies for those that experience trauma, childhood trauma, experience of child ritual abuse, maybe. There is a book, by the way, that you can go and have a look, and links to this also. You got the banking families involved. So you've got the well-known banker JP Morgan, and yeah, it's amazing what you investigate. Because just through the history, it's so important to look at the socialist New World Order, and inside the socialist one world government. It's remarkable to find out within the book as well, and how far back this has all been in the planning. So there goes a link to the information. And then you got the claimed conspiracy theorists, which is not really, because when you go down the rabbit hole, you'll find the Committee of 300. Who's the Committee of 300, you might say? And there's a book by the same author, and 2005 this article is, and basically, I don't know, no boundaries at all countries controlled every aspect: politics, commerce, religion, industry, banking, insurance, mining, and even the drug trade, allegedly, are put here. Learn how this small elite group, who are answerable to no one except its members, have pulled the strings all major world events. Why? Until now. A few people have even been aware of its existence, let alone the power in manipulating the affairs of the entire world. All of these members reveal, including all of the corporations and government agencies and various movements which they have developed, controlled, to further their own aims for the world domination. This is the end of times we're living in. I'm shadow bound on the internet anyway, so my streams don't get out. Anyway, so when you dig further, and you might just want to involve, well, you've got MI5, MI6 England, GHQ, whatever, and they put you on a watch list for something you haven't even done. Right, so then you got the 21 goals of the Illuminati. So, as I said, research if one wants to. The 21 goals of the Illuminati, this is from 1993. It's a long time ago. I didn't even know about all this. So it goes into end the production of nuclear generated electric power, the post-industrial zero society. I mean, all this, what's happening now in the world, has all been pre-planned. So it goes into all this: limited wars in advanced countries by the means of starvation, diseases this is what's worded on the website. The third world countries, the death of 3 billion people by the year 2050. Why? This is the point. These are 21 goals that anyone can read up and take it for yourself what you think is going on. There are people they call them useless eaters. This is demonic. And a white paper's been made on how to bring about such genocide. This is unlawful. The paper was produced under the title Global 2000 Report and was accepted and approved for action by the former President James Earl Carter, and it goes in specifics to that in America. Under the terms of the Global 2000 Report, the population US is to be reduced by 100 million by the year 2020 to weaken the moral fibre of the nation and to demoralise workers and the labour classes by creating mass unemployment. As jobs dwindle to the post-industrial zero growth policies introduced by the Club of Rome, the report emphasises demonetised, discouraged workers and resorting to alcohol and drugs. Unfortunately, the youth of the land will be encouraged to, by means of rock music and drugs, to rebel against the status quo, undermining and eventually destroying the family unit. In this regard, the committee commissioned the Tavistock Institute to prepare the blueprint on how this could be achieved. Tavistock directed Stanford Research in America to undertake the work under the direction of Professor Willis Hammond. This work later became known as, and it quotes, I won't read it all, I'll just skip through. Number 11, to keep people everywhere from deciding of their own destinies by means of one created crisis after another and managing such crises. To create the demoralisation of population, the extent to where faced with too many choices, empathy on a massive scale will result, in the case of USA, an agency of crisis management already in place, and guess what it's called, FEMA. First enclosed in 1980, most probably before. 12. To introduce new cults and continue to boost those already functioning, including rock music, gangsters like the Rolling Stones. Yeah. Beatles. Did you know all of the Tavistock created rock groups which began with the Beatles? I didn't even know that. Number 13, to continue to build up the occult of Christianity fundamentalism begun by the West Indies Company's servant, and it goes into who that is, which will be misused to strengthen the Zionist state of Israel by identifying with the Jews through the myth of God's chosen people. So why on earth were they putting that in? God's chosen people. That's messing about with people's choice to believe. British Israel, hidden hand behind the kingdom of God and earth deception. And there's the article of 2005. And it goes into that. A term used by the anonymous author, brilliant, written in 1970, a book titled The Union Jack, to describe, let me just first check. Yeah, so let's check the audio. Wow, published 1990, believe that. Yeah, so let's check the audio. Is this unbelievable? I'm just checking my connection on my app. Wow, published 1990. I'm just gonna now I know. Gotta just see how I can get this working on my phone, this app as well. Okay, why do you think someone's targeting me? Why do you bloody think? I'm gonna charge this phone up before it crashes on me. Look how I'm just Freemasonry police. This is old. This is old. This is what goes on. Hold on a minute. February 19th, 2020. Let's see who this. Yeah, it's a troll. I knew it's a troll. Look. They like the numberism, symbolism, the Freemasons, Illuminati. So we'll get rid of that one. But don't want to share that. I think it's important if you want to look into the spiritual aspect, into Three Hearts Church. Three Hearts Church is a very useful subject and a channel. And it goes in about the Masons and Freemasons. My gosh, right, let me go back to where I was. Okay. Let me go, where was I? Let me go back. Switch channels. So I have peace and love, truth set up, but I'm not doing anything on that channel just yet. Christina, she's also, I don't know how she goes live on a mobile because this is what they do.
Oh, I misinterpreted what you were trying to say. Sorry, Marie. Yeah, same here. Where I feel like
This is a guy in England. Wow. I have wondered why. Oh, she's buffering. That's bless her. You see, even people with children have this happen to them too. Okay. Just check my streaming app. So, end times. Seb Daniels, very good author. The victim of ritual abuse, Illuminati, mind controlling program. Let me just mute this.
end times.
It's still going, this website. It used to do a lot. No, it's not the website anymore, it's a shame. Right. So basically, the programming, let me just go for it. He was born into a powerful Hollywood family and was subjected to the typical horrendous abuse at an early age, which are most victims of Illuminati programming are forced to endure. He broke through the program in the year 2000 and credits to his unwavering devotion to God and Jesus as the lifelines which rescued him from the abyss. You can read more about it on his journey, but I used to listen to podcasts, and I don't know how he kept up with his writing and his script writing for movies, but anyway, he did. And the scenario of the end times is being hammered into the minds and hearts of fundamentalism in Christianity across the nation is a setup. If you take the time to read a book written by William Blanley called The Garden of Eden, there's a link down here, so I can get scrolling up, and that it's been hammered into the minds and hearts, and I just said that, and you will find that end time scenario is the same script as the cast of characters. Let me just have a look at the book. If there's a link. Oh, you can buy it on Amazon. Paperback is $7. Let's have a look at the synopsis. Human history, endless succession of the bloody conflicts and devastating trauma, yet inexplicably in the light of astonishing intellect and technology achievement, man's progress has been halted into one critical area. He still indulges in the primitive beast within and makes war upon its neighbours. As a result of 7 years' intense research, the author of this book, excuse me, has uncovered the sinister thread that links humanity's darkest events, from the wars of the ancient pharaohs to the assassination of JFK. In this remarkable, shocking, compelling work, the author of the book presents disturbing evidence of an alien presence on Earth. Yeah. I've known certain things I can't mention here. Extraterrestrial visitors who have conspired to dominate mankind through violence, chaos, since the beginning of time. Wow. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Now, I know certain subjects are certain things which I'm not in the position to go into. If I do that, placing the hand of powers that be, I'm not going to do that. We don't deal with the flesh and blood. I'm not here to question anyone's spirituality, points of views on that. I'm just going to link up this. Sadly. They call it the reptilian. The reptilian in that book. Well, not just that book, but there's other people that come out with Max Spires as the subject of the Duns underground bases. Let's see that covers it. Mm-hmm. Reptilians enter the human eye. Droning processes. It occurs when the BRIL. I wonder if I can make this bigger. Yeah. Injects its coil proboscis into the human eye, where the lizard parasite takes over the human host brain. It is terribly painful for human being under the human consciousness dies. The bioparasite consciousness is in full control. All or most memory ability of the former human is retained, and the lizard consciousness now mimics for the former human behaviors. Shape-shifting as well can take place. The former human is now a drone. These are the people that are used by the VRIL to infiltrate governments, religions, legal, financial systems, organisations or corporations. It is not uncommon for male and female drones used by the VRIL to lose their hair at a younger age. Intelligence seems a little deceased with the minimal capability, if any, to understand the sarcasm or dry humour. Offspring have increased risks of various birth abnormalities. Drones often seem incapable of empathy, sympathy, and can often display psychotic behaviours. Drones enjoy perversion, sexual deviance, self-gratification. The drone will seem to be an ill human until fully recovered from their parasitical infection, which takes place varying degrees of time, but is usually minimal. The eye that was drowned with the processes will be infected sometimes, never fully recovers, and leaving the affected eye to seem different from the other. Most drones appear completely normal, walk amongst us undetected. The viral prosthetics connects with the human eye and releases a foamy substance where the parasite injects itself into the human brain. The unfortunate human suffers temporary agony, and once the parasite is effectively in the brain, the human ceases to exist. The viral is then in full control of the host body. The old age eye of the horse symbol represents the age-old droning process that has been so effectively concealed from the history books. The drones ensure the bio agenda continues successfully. And the fearful and or willing complaint humans effectively aid them in their missions until now. Drones do not have lizard eyes. They are no major or obvious physical changes to the human body. The only change is that the human consciousness has ceased to exist, and the via consciousness is now in control of the body. Drones are not shapeshifters. Once a lizard takes over the human, there is no transferring in and out of the body, as it's permanent, one-time transfer, until the lizard consciousness perishes. The shape shifting is thought to be a mm, METAPHORE description of droning, as it was difficult for people and their cultures to communicate with the existence of the vial, which is pronounced and worded spelled VRIL, much less the droning procedure is a way that would not bring them harm for attempting to expose the ancient secret or to preserve any information whatsoever. The extensive or increased blinking and or lip licking most probably be lizard traits that transfer with the consciousness. Drone offspring have increased chances of various syndromes of birth abnormalities. Drones are not nice people. They are lizard consciousness who killed a human being via parasite via the process agenda. Most drones are ruthless and psychopaths, sexually driven and sadists. It is reported that the genitalia, some private parts, has an effect on the male, leading to the appearance of underdevelopment in the area. Hair loss is reported to be a common trait among the male and females. More the skin abnormalities appear, such as moles, tags, age spots, etc. The science of the parasites. After reading Donald Marshall's story, where he claimed he is a clone victim, subject to torturous acts, and claiming, and it's reading up here, I won't repeat it out loud here, and her gross elite friends, they are one part to his claim that I could not allow myself to believe. The parasite ancient lizards, my conscious brain would not allow me to believe that this part of Donald Marshall's claim, yet something was subconsciously driven me into it. Finally decided to have a look into it. So this author on this website, well, the link to the subject, claims communicated with Donald via Skype several times, found that not only was he very real, he was very mentally stable as well. His humour is kind and intelligent. He truly is amazing, strong, curious, and courageous, and moral individual. After getting good vibes from Donald, I kept up some really intensive research, and I believe I can deliver merit to Donald's claim about the lizard's process. Open-mindedness is required, and very scientific possibilities that may just explain a few things. And disrupt their minds, their demonic abilities around the human brain. The humans, animals, insects, reptiles can all become affected with a parasite. This is not a new concept at all. Parasites take over the thought process of host body that it invades. An affected ant would be driven to climb up a blade of glass to just purposely being eaten by the grazing animals so that can enter the stomach of the sheep and cow and complete its life cycle. Sometimes the parasite can be transferred to a human that eats nearly an infected animal, such as a pig. The pigs are very tasty creatures biologically, but the Bible forbids any consumption of this meat or the meat of any other split-hoofed animal. Sometimes humans can contract a parasite from an affected cat as well. No matter how it gets contacted, once it enters the body, it can in fact infect the brain. Parasites mimic their host, yet thought process and further behaviours of infected individuals alter this significantly. It goes into a bit more about all this. The cloning station. Donna Marshall. It's just on the website here. If anyone wants to go and look over. So, the reptilian races, different ones, preferred species, goes into about that and the body hosting. Then it goes into the underground dumbs. And it goes into the links. There's a lot of cloning centres. And the cloning, apparently, the technology behind it, been around for a long time. So I don't know if this audio will work. So let's see. Here we go.
Holy hell, Airside Chatters, drinking a little drink, smoking a little smoke, and trying to tune my mind dial just right so some of this crazy world makes sense. From sunny San Diego, I'm Greg Carlwood. And listeners of this show know I don't like to waste a lot of time up front, but today is a bit of a special occasion, and we haven't had a show like this one in quite a while. But anyone who's followed conspiracy culture since the early days of the internet knows that from time to time these little sagas pop up that can be quite popular. The Hidden Hand story, or John Teeter, or the Robert Connors video. There's no shortage of them. And yes, some turn out to be hoaxes, but others could be very real. Now, one of these whistleblowers who made a huge splash in the deep end of the conspiracy pool was Donald Marshall. On December 2nd, 2011, Donald made his initial disclosure in a lengthy Facebook post, really viral. For the uninitiated, I want to read some of the highlights to you. He says, "This is no hoax, this is no joke. My name is Donald Marshall. I have been cloned by a large secretive cult known as the Freemasons and the Vril Society and Scientologists, together called the Illuminati. They make replicated bodies of people to victimize in terrible ways. They clone children for men with underdeveloped penises to have sex with. Some very famous and politically powerful people all getting together for a disgusting time. Most of the G20 gather there to discuss worldly matters and watch gruesome things done to innocent people for sport. I have seen this firsthand and will tell all, as it must be stopped. The political people started bringing movie stars and musicians there to hang around with them. They can control who remembers the cloning facilities and who will remain oblivious, even though not remembering still damages you. I know who's involved, the ringleaders and everything they do. It's basically a torture and child molesting factory. I was one of those children, but when I was young, to keep perverts off of me, I started singing songs, original songs, very good ones. They told me to keep making these songs and I wouldn't get hurt, and so I did. Then they started bringing me there every day for songs as the celebrities wanted more. They called me the goose that laid the golden egg, the phenomenon. But I ran out of
Mysterious.
ideas. Then the torture began. Now, to tell you about the ringleaders, as unbelievable as it may seem, but you must believe me, this is a work.
This is off the website, Tanya. Let me go back into the website I had. It's an audio. Donna Marshall. Okay. On the website, it says Donna Marshall and the cloning started off the mind control subject. Then the reptilians. How are you? Let me go and say hello. About human so you can see the website I'm sharing, just some links that people can go and check out. So the audio, I'm going to get a hot drink and I'll be back. I have 4 hours streaming free, but how long have I been on? So another 10 minutes. So I'm just testing this out really on the channel. What's the time for you, Tanya? I'll chat to you what I found out about what they did about my money. Not on here though. And my comments were disappearing in that chat the other day, yesterday. I was watching it as I was saying hello to you. And the moderator in that chat noticed. So, yeah, let me just get into what I'm sharing now. What the screen is like now. Donna Marshall, yeah. Okay, so I'll go back to the audio of Donna Marshall. What I find is hot drink. That's what it is.
Right, okay, so I'd just like to say hi Donald, my name's Lisa and this is the Cry Freedom Show at criticalmassradio.co.uk, broadcasting from the UK. And it's great to get the chance to speak to you, Donald. Welcome to Critical Mass Radio, and how are you today?
Thanks, I'm glad to be here. Pretty good today, I guess. Just been worse, you know.
All right, I'd just like to say, I first became aware of you some time ago, probably about a year or so ago, and I got to see some of your interviews that were on YouTube. I did listen to a number of them, and it's great to have you here. It's great to have a chance to talk to you directly. So thanks for agreeing to do this. And I think you said this was your first UK interview. I've got to just tell people it's pretty in-your-face scary stuff, this, which no doubt a lot of people out there are going to find incredibly hard to take in. And I'm not making any judgments either way. I'm just giving you the opportunity to tell your side of it all based on your experiences, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know you've got a lot of stuff to tell us along the side of exposing the so-called Illuminati for what they're doing. So perhaps, Donald, you can just start off by giving us a little bit of background information on yourself and how you got into all of this, and when you first became aware of what was happening to you and you got involved with this. And I know some of this is directly involved with your mother and how she was a sex slave with the Illuminati. So if you want to start on those lines, that would be fantastic.
Okay, well, let's see. It started when I was 5 years old, only I was memory repressed back then. Everybody, all kids that are brought there to the cloning station are memory suppressed. I didn't know I was a clone at the time. I thought I was blasted into another dimension, something.
Sure.
Well, originally I was brought there to be what they call a diddle kid. They call it a diddle kid. And my mother knew all about it. My mother was there. She was there when she was younger as one of these people. She basically sold me out for free. But only it wasn't going so good. I just scream and cry. And they said, well, what else can you do? Singing or dancing? So I sang out this song, and famous person used it, and then more famous people started coming to this specific cloning station I was at. And it just got worse and worse, and just kept on making songs to keep the greasy old people off me. And it just went out of control. And then they started thinking that I was some kind of freak, like some kind of link to God or something, because I come up with these songs that have been like the way that they do these cloning things. It's a different kind of cloning. There's the one where it comes up from a baby. It's replication cloning, but this is duplication cloning. They grow a fully formed duplicate of you, and they grow them like 5 at a time, because sometimes they come out grown twisted. They have malformed hand or something. So they scrap them, throw them in the chipper, and go with the other 4 for backup bodies. But the way that they do it, they can only put you into one of these kind of clones. It's called a Mark II REM driven clone. They can only put you into one of these clones when you're fully into REM sleep, which happens like after about an hour and a half after you fall asleep. You go into REM sleep. They just have a machine next to your clone that's on a rack, and it's laying there like a dead body, breathing real shallow and stuff. And it's got a feeding tube down the throat, and when a light comes on a machine next to your clone, somebody presses a button on a remote, it says this light says that you're in REM sleep, full of REM sleep, and they can activate you then. If they activate you before that, you'll be all disoriented and you go psycho and stuff. But yeah, so when you're in REM sleep, they can just bring you there. I tried to do the alarm clock thing, but when you wake up and you go back to sleep again, you just go right back into REM real fast. That's how it works. It's rapid eye movement stage of sleep. That's how they do it. They call it a consciousness transfer. They transfer your consciousness into a clone, and they basically just give up their ability to have dreams and nightmares, and they just go there and walk around, talk, doing stupid stuff. Like they started doing it around 1944 or 45, and it was all politicians. But then they got bored of that. Like, they were thinking they would keep the whole world in line and everything. And under the threat of clone torture, because they can kill you remotely from the cloning center, they'll give you an aneurysm. If they apply a constant state of pain to your clone, you'll die in real life. Either that night or the next day, you'll have a brain bleed, aneurysm, stroke thing. Yeah, so...
Okay, Donald, sorry, just to go back, I can just go back a little bit. The way you first got into this is because your mother was involved in it, and she was actually a sex slave, is that right?
Oh, yeah. It's been going on for so long that they say that she was there when she was a kid. Like, I'm not sure if she was there then, but she's been there for a long time. Her brothers and sisters, they're all scared to talk. They've seen other people get killed before for even considering talking, right?
Sure.
Like, I thought that would have been dead last year by now. But turns out they actually want me to talk about them. Okay. They made me think that they didn't want me to talk about them, but they actually do. They want cloning and the lizards and the hosts shut down. The only thing is they didn't want me to tell about these head chips that they got, and this other thing about gold that is absolutely ludicrous sounding, but I gotta say it anyway, because, you know, it's just different technologies that they have that you wouldn't think that they would have yet.
Sure. Okay. Donald, sorry, you said that basically you've been memory repressed since you were 5, and you said that when you got to about the age of 30, they actually reversed the memory repression, yeah? And then you went through this process which is called the awakening. Do you want to tell us what that is exactly?
Sure. Well, they test you when you're there. They say, if we let you in on this, are you going to tell on us? And they give you a truth serum, sodium pentothal. They can scan your head to see if you, kind of like a lie detector type of thing, scan your head, see if you're deceptive or whatever. The way that I got to be unrepressed was, like, I had to let them know that I was their ally, friend, or they were just going to leave me memory repressed about it, and I'd never be able to seek help. I was just going to go to the police. Little did I know the police are involved.
Exactly, yeah.
And,
exactly. I was just going to say, there's these two types of clonings. You said there's this clothing that this when you're from a baby basically, but there's also this duplication clothing, which is done in sort of a test tube type glass thing. And they have, you said that there's different marks of clothing from 1 to 4. Do you want to just talk about that a little bit for us?
Sure. Well, I guess the Russians, this was actually on the internet. I was overjoyed when I first started mailing around because I'd never gone on conspiracy pages and stuff or looked up stuff. And I go on to the internet to tell people about it, and they're already talking about a little bit of it. So I was like, yes, this isn't going to be as hard as I thought. So anyway, Mark 1 clone is, they call it, I don't know why, they call it an organic robotoid. Even though there's no robotic parts in it, it's all organic. They call it a robotic or organic robotoid, but they don't use them anymore because they're so primitive. Okay. They got more side effects. You're more confused when you're a Mark 1. And they're REM driven as well. They're primitive though. They come up like messed up looking sometimes, so they don't use them anymore. They just use the Mark 2s. Mark 3 is a run around all the time clone, like no REM needed. They can, well, there's 2 different ways. They can have it run around as a set consciousness, or they can do a duality thing where, like, it's weird. It's, you have to, in real life, you'd have to do absolutely nothing, like, and totally concentrate on walking and talking around as this clone. You get like a weird, like a double vision type of thing. You got to close your eyes and concentrate. They don't go so good. Like, and Mark 4 is supposed to be like top of the line. I don't even know that much about them. Hillary Clinton got caught on camera in her Mark 4 in 2 different places in the country, right, on purpose. On purpose. She actually got in trouble at the cloning station because they were like, you were seen on camera on purpose and you're double. And she was like, no, it was an accident, but she just wanted it discovered. They all want it discovered so that they can get away.
So the next place to go into with all of this, Donald, I think, is then this cloning station thing, because this is a big thing in everything that you're talking about, the cloning stations, and everything that you're saying is based on the way that the elites and the people that are controlling this world are using what you're saying are these cloning stations to their ends. And what in effect is happening here is that people, celebrities, well-known people, good-looking children, etc., are being cloned by the powers that be in these cloning stations for the use of the elite to go there for sort of sexual reasons, all sorts of horrible, really awful, evil reasons. They go to these cloning stations to do this and take part in these exercises, parties, whatever you want to call them, yeah?
Yep, and torture people. They run them through these things called MK Ultra scenarios. They can put a chip in the clone's head, and they can implant sound, like visualizations, better than computer graphics and everything. Your own brain will extrapolate the missing pieces of these scenarios and stuff. They make people think that they're secret agents and they're on mission, all kinds of stuff. They run people around. Like, they make people think that they've been abducted by aliens. They have a set with a fake saucer and everything. It's got a ramp leading up to it. It's small, and on the inside it's all decked out. And they clone people into the place, make them open up their eyes on the table, and they're surrounded by like these alien guys with fake masks on that are all going to like take turns on this person, and they freak out, and then they wake up the next morning, they think they've been abducted, and they have archives of abduction porn. I don't know, they don't get bored of it. They do it to just random people. All you gotta be is good looking, or, you know, they don't discriminate.
Okay, I think at this point then, Donald, it might be good for you to actually say, if you can, how you've been actually let in to see all this, what reason that you've actually, just so people understand how you've been aware of all of this that is going on, or what your kind of insight and why you've been there, sort of thing, yeah?
Yep. And it explains why I wasn't killed yet.
Yeah,
everybody else gets wiped.
Sure.
Well, when I was 5, I'll just say straight out, Queen Elizabeth was there. She goes there. She owns the specific cloning station that I'm at. It's an above ground one. Most of them are all in the deep underground bases.
And this is where, Donald, the one that you're talking about? as well.
The one I'm talking about is in Western Canada somewhere. It's within 5 hours drive of the Robert Picton farm,
Sure.
the pig farm where all the prostitutes were killed. They recorded those murders, by the way. They called them snuff films, and they watched them at the Calming Center, all these prostitutes getting killed. There's all kinds of that with the Picton thing. But anyway,
we'll go into that in a minute, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm there at 5. They're messing with me. I start singing songs. And they said, we'll just use them for songs. And then it got into other ideas for stuff. And then everybody wanted to see this amazing song kid, come and see the amazing song kid. And Elizabeth was treating me like I was her pet dog. And my mother was all for it. And she got more attention there.
Just interrupt for a second, Donald, excuse me, but if you said this is done by families a lot, it is a family thing. Families get family members involved in this, yeah?
Yeah, but you don't have to be born into it. Okay. You just have to be semi-attractive or have some kind of a skill that they want to use or steal from you. So anyway, after I made about 50 songs there, people started saying that I might be some kind of religious significance. And then they're talking to me about, I was just a little kid, and they're talking to me about these prophecies, Nostradamus prophecies and everything. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And they said, they start going into religious stuff, saying, oh, maybe he's the lamb, right? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I've never had any kind of, well, later on in life, I tell them I never had any kind of visions or heard anything. And I really don't think that I am. And they wanted me to be a part of this Project Camelot thing. Yeah, there was a bunch of kids there, candidates for it. It was to be a figurehead, like a religious figurehead during an atomic catastrophe in the future. They were going to have someone to attempt to control the population, like by talking them through a big catastrophe. Then, they were planning on leading people into underground bases and messing them up, depopulating and stuff. And there is a lot to say. Over the past 32 years, they told me so much stuff. Like, the reason that I know all this stuff, after I said all the songs and stuff, everybody thought I was Mr. Cool Kid. They all wanted to meet me. How do you think up these songs? What's your favorite food? This and that. What's your favorite color? Anything. And then the politicians, who used to get all the attention and everything, they were like put on the back burner. So then they came out to, interact with me too. So then at the Calming Center, what they do, sometimes politicians will do a little bit of acting or make lines for movies, and the actors and stuff will sing world. Now, they all use me as like the catalyst for like this. They call it the show sometimes. They call it the show. There's nothing to do there. After you've had sex, all the sex stuff, and you do the fighting stuff, the death sports stuff, there's nothing else to do. Like, what do you do after that? Go have some more sex or something? There's just nothing to do. So he said that I'm like the entertainer there, and it's like the most amazing thing how I made a song out of thin air or nothing to keep myself from getting hurt. Like, at first, the songs came pretty easy, but then they started to trickle down, so they started to threaten me. And then that worked, so I made more songs, and then they started to torture clones of me. And so that worked too, to get them to stop torturing me. I'd sing songs, and they just kept on doing that for years and years and years. And it messed up my heart. I didn't even know what was going on in real life.
Donald, can I just ask a question here? One of the things that a lot of us believe is that, obviously that is what you're saying, it fits in with what you're saying, is that a lot of the songs that are produced by a lot of the mainstream singers are done for a reason by the Illuminati to kind of get a message out but not get a message out. So are you saying that that's what you've been doing for them basically, yeah?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to it. There's like some inner politics there. Like, they all know, they all want to hint at it to get it shut down, but they don't want to stick their own neck out because people have been killed before. So they're using me because in the past I agreed to do their whole play Jesus thing, but it was a deception on my part because I just wanted to get on memory repressed so I could tell the world and get this stuff stuff shut.
Donald, at this point, can I just introduce Dave that I think you've spoken to on Facebook anyway, Dave Lloyd. Wants to say hi to you.
Hi, mate. Can I just ask him a question, Lisa?
Yeah, go ahead, Dave, yeah.
Yeah, I can't get my head around this. So what you're saying is, if somebody's in bed and they're in REM, rapid eye movement sleep, they don't have to go to the cloner station. There's something at the cloner station that clicks on and says he or she is asleep, and that consciousness is transferred to the clone. Is that it, Donald?
That's exactly it. And I'm not sure if a head chip implant is required.
With the consciousness on it?
Yeah, well, no, the consciousness is borrowed, because when the person wakes up in their real body,
yeah,
the clone drops limp. It drops limp to the floor. So they always try to stay sitting in the stands, because different people have dropped limp noodle just right to the floor, and they break their elbows, they crack their head off the concrete floor.
So it's just like Avatar the film, then, isn't it?
It is exactly like Avatar. And even before Avatar came out, like, I was telling people about this stuff, and they put that Avatar film based on Mark II REM clone.
Now, Donald, would the people who's asleep who's being cloned, would they be aware of what was going on, or would they just have an ordinary night's sleep?
They would have a sleep where they wouldn't remember their dream. They would think, oh, I just can't remember what I dreamt last night. And it's like that for everyone that happens with. Now, they have the option, the powers be have the option of allowing you to remember this or not. But once they do the awakening thing on you, they can't keep the memory from you anymore. It's you get them every time. Every time they activate you, you will remember it the next day. And it's not like remembering a dream, and it's not like feeling like a dream. It's just normal as normal. They can give you an injection to make you feel fuzzy, so it'll feel like a dream, but it's just normal. You walk around, you slap yourself in the face. It's just normal. It's crazy. They let me do a bunch of stuff there. Like, they turned my pain sensors off, let me stab myself up. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, they thought I was an ally.
I wonder how much these clones actually cost to make. It must cost thousands and thousands of dollars. I know money's probably an object.
No, the thing is, they don't cost that much. I'll tell you, it sounds like really odd. It's mostly just maintenance. The thing is, what they used to do, they say they can do it with blood now, but they used to have to get a tissue sample from the person, and they used to have to agitate the tissue and agitate it, and then the white blood cells start to heal, and it just heals. It just goes and goes and heals and heals and heals until it's a fully formed thing, and it just grows a whole nother you, and then they just tested with it, and then they figured out how to put the consciousness into the clone. But yeah, it's really far out tech that they got. You wouldn't think they'd have this for like another 500 years.
Okay, Donald, one of the things I just wanted to say to you was that a lot of people have asked you why you're still here, basically, given on a few things that you said, and you have actually said that because of what you're saying, because you're saying now that they can actually, because if they've got a clone of you, they can actually apply an electronic current to the head of the clone that will kill the person, yeah? And you're saying that because you're actually telling people this is why they haven't done anything to you, because if they did it to you, it would be too obvious now, yeah?
That was what I thought at first, but I found out within the last year that they don't want to kill me. Well, first they wanted me to play fake Jesus for them, right?
Yeah.
And I could never do something like that, deceive the world, play with people's religion and things. Like, I don't tell people why I'm Jesus or anything. Like, I think that's kind of silly. But then they're talking to me about things and prophecies. They said that the Nostradamus picture book has a picture of me in it, and it says that the next Messiah's initials will be DM, and it's a reference in it to King Dawn and the Nostradamus prophecy. So they're all like, there's a bunch of super religious zealots there that say, oh wow, we thought we were going to use him to be fake Jesus, but it turns out he's real Jesus, and if we kill him, it says in the prophecies that God will destroy the earth and this and that. And so they're using that as an excuse to keep me alive, because they want it exposed so that the populace will force them to shut it down.
Sure.
Because there's some countries don't want to shut it down. I want to keep it going, but a lot of countries don't want to participate anymore.
Okay, okay. So just so people are clear here, you're saying that at these so-called cloning centres, many of the leaders, if not all, of the G20 countries are actually going to these cloning centres, and we're talking a lot of people here, and leaders from also other countries. They're going to what are called these clone gatherings and parties at these cloning centres, and we're talking about people like Queen Elizabeth, we're talking about Vladimir Putin. You're also saying that Gaddafi is not dead, and the one that we thought was killed was actually a clone. Do you want to just talk a bit on that for us, if you could?
Yep. They, well, I've helped them make movies and a lot of songs and stuff. So, and successfully too. So, they wanted me to help them set up the whole thing, how it looked believable. I even told them, because I walked them through a few things before, like I had to, when I was memory repressed and stuff, and to keep from getting stabbed and stuff, because it messes up your heart in real life. Like if they sporadically torture you, constant will fill you with aneurysm. But anyway, yeah, all the people around Gaddafi there were in on it. Even the phone shaking around,
Okay.
the cell phone camera shaking around. That was all that hustle and bustle. That was all manufactured. They all think they're great actors and stuff. Gaddafi wanted to go down. He didn't want to look like Saddam Hussein. He said, in getting his mouth opened up and walking around his underwear and stuff, he said he wanted to go like cool looking. So the blood on the face and everything was a little cut at his hairline. And they put it all over his face on the side there. Like, it was all set up. It was all a big stage play. And you never find his body now. It's supposedly buried secretly. That's because if you dig up his body, take a test on it, and you'll be able to tell it's a clone. Like, they're easy to tell. The difference between the cells are different somehow. There's a bunch of different kinds of clones too. Like, I don't know a lot about the higher up clones. Usually just the Mark II kind.
Sure.
But yeah.
Right, okay. So again, what you're saying here, again, what I've listened to in interviews is that basically a lot of celebrities, if not all, I don't know, a lot of celebrities and people in the public eye are actually all involved in this. They're all going to these cloning centres. A lot of them sell their so-called clones for the sake of fame and fortune. And these clones are then in these cloning centres. And then we get these so-called people in power, as you described as these fat, sort of ugly people going to these cloning centres that are actually using the clones of these so-called celebrities for sex and whatever else. Yeah?
Oh, yep, and all kinds of weird things.
Okay. And do you want to tell us a bit about Britney Spears, because you said that she's done a video on this?
Oh, yeah. Well, I talked to Britney Spears ever since she was starting her career. Actually, she was being brought there when she was in the Mickey Mouse Club, even. And, yeah, I helped her make her songs. Oops, did it again and everything. And she put she let me put hints in the songs with lines and stuff. There's so many, like, and now when I put them out there, it's like, it sounds like it could just be a coincidence. A lot of coincidences, but it feels like such a big waste of time, because sometimes putting these hints in songs, they'd get pretty mad at me, but they'd do it anyway.
Sure.
Just to flaunt their power. But now I'm bringing them all up, and like, I even got people say clones and stuff in songs, and like Nelly Furtado, I got her to say "Space is cloning" in what song is it that "Say It Right" it's called. That "Say It Right" song by Nelly Furtado, that's all about disclosing Illuminati stuff. They wanted me to talk about them.
Well, we have heard that a lot of the films and the music out there, and even when you hear the 80s stuff now, when you listen to it back, a lot of it sounds like it's all there to give us a message in big time. And you talked about, and I'm going to play this at the start of my show when I do your interview next week, you talked about Heart, a song that Heart did, yeah?
Yep. There's all kinds of them back then. They were all coming at me back then after I'd made like the first 20. Then they all started coming. Like, there's numerous cloning stations, and certain people go to certain ones in different areas. Like there's like a couple from every state.
You're listening to Critical time.
Right, guys, we did actually lose connection at that point with Donald, and I thought that was a natural break anyway, so I'm going to play a quick tune. There's loads more to go in this, and I say it's going to take at least one more show to get all of this out, maybe even two more, if I can spread it that far, if you want to hear it for two more shows. But it's amazing information, I think, that's certainly worthwhile thinking about, if nothing else, and I, for one, can well believe it could so be true. But anyway, more from Donald coming up right after this. I just wanted to say, you've obviously mentioned we're in the UK here. This station is broadcasting from the UK, and you've mentioned Queen Elizabeth a lot. I just wondered if you could actually just tell us about the involvement of Queen Elizabeth in all of this, as far as you're concerned.
Yep. Well, as I said just before we got cut off there,
Sure.
she used me for a soapbox there. See, without me there, she has really no reason to.
So that is educateyourself.org/Donald Marshall, 27th February 2016, with the audio interview with his Cry Freedom show, dated 4th of April 2013. So that is let me just get rid of some pop-ups. I've got echoes in the background. So what time is it now? Let me just check, see how long I've been streaming this information. Let me go up to the top of the page where you can go and find this information. educateyourself.org. You've got other subjects. I think the New World Order is the next interesting subject. You've also got Phil Snicer. I think that leads on to the cloning. You got the mind control first. I mean, this is where you got the subjects and the references in the past. You got Bill Cooper. For all the interview people that are replaying these past evidence of the history. Going back to the 1990s. And I don't need to say anything more. This is Luciferian. This is all part of the bigger picture. Now, on Mystery 12, this gentleman passed away. His whole family was in the military in America. And for these individuals are uploading all of the old videos and content by their own research. William Cooper, Chilean, the real chill reservation, you know, it's going to. I'm just going to play this. Well, first of all, let's show you where you can go independently and watch this. I won't play the actual video. I will show you where you can go and watch it if you want, if it's set up. Okay, let's see if it's still there.
Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a big idea, and it's not.
Okay. Duncan Bates. These broadcasts are uploaded from 1998. Cooper predicted the rays of the Zionist Messiah to see the final. There's so many people out there that's uploaded. It shows you the evidence, the secret documents for 1970. I was only a little girl then. Can you believe all this has been going on? And 1973 revealed a plan, now unfolding before our eyes. And he quoted that in 1997. And now we're 2022. in full swing in it. Many years ago, I had access to a set of documents of my very own eyes. I eventually realised was a plan for the destruction of the United States of America and the formation of the socialist totalitarian world government. The plan was contained within a set of top documents that were secret called, and it quotes, Mystery 12. The term honoured the plan to place the ultimate power in a body of wise men who are destined to rule the world as the disciplines of the Messiah frontman. The Messiah will serve as a buffer between the wise man and disciples of the frontman and its people. I discovered these documents between 1970 and 1973 when I was a member of the intelligence briefing team of the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet. That's the Navy. The plan outlined the formation of the World Totalitarian Socialist Government. It would be ruled by behind the scenes of the wise men. So-called benevolent dictator will be presented as a messiah. You really cannot believe this. This is worldwide. So, for those he got assassinated for his radio shows, his website, his documents. And as I said, I'm not playing this because it's uploaded to someone else's channel. This is the channel. Okay. So you can go and watch it and it describes what it all is. It goes into the house and this is nothing new. I've known about this for a while. It goes that they are loyal to the government. Luciferian philosophy. The Illuminati. If you do the history research and bring it all forward to date, you'll see where it all leads. Connect the dots. So basically, the elite core of the Wall Street in New York City in America, the house of the Rockefeller, and you want to research their family bloodline, 13 bloodline families. That's on that educateyourself.org website. Then you might want to look into the European financial elite, the House of Titles, and its global connection. It's not conspiracy anymore. Waging psychological warfare and the rest of the conspirators, telling each and no more than is necessary for him or her to be destined role. So it goes into a bit more. Hours of the times. Let's see the website set up, shall we? Nope. Didn't think so. It stopped 1993. Let's see, there's another link. Nope. Oh, well, don't know. Is it? Here we go. I think somebody's taken over, has they? Let's have a look. I think somebody's taken on the website. It's good of them. The page was eventually be part of all the research videos and audios of Bill Cooper research in his lifetime. It would also include unpublished works digitized after his death. A complete biography and timeline will be also available. That's pretty good. For now, we'll work that whoever's working on this website, categorizing the time, the original documentary on his life and times. Your pale This is a bloody good book to get. Either the audio or the hardback. So this is a rare find, actually. So let's have a look. Oh, you got PDF audios as well. So there's a book. Let's see if we can download. Wow, you can download this. 1991. Look at that. You can download it for free. How many pages? 500 pages. Oh my gosh. 8:30 in the morning, is it? Can you see that, Tanya? Look. Look at this evidence. All of this. See if I can get this bigger screen. Let's see if I can go bigger. Yeah, there you go. There's the author. Beyond the pearl horse, and his name that sat upon him was death. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the four part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with beasts of the earth. The Holy Bible, the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verses 8. Wow. This works at 500 pages. Once-based truth can be used as foundation for a foundation of lies. And if you dig down deep enough in the mountain of lies and bring out the truth to set it upon the mountain of lies, the entire mountain of lies will crumble under the weight of that one truth. And there is nothing more devastating to the structure of lies than the revelation of the truth upon which the structure of lies was built. Because the shock waves of the revelation of the truths reverberate and continue to reverberate throughout the earth for generations to follow, awakening even those people who had no desire to be awake to the truth. Table of contents. Isn't this similar what Deborah Devado had mentioned on her website, stopthecrimes.net? Chapter 1, Silent Weapons of Quiet Wars, Secret Societies, New World Order, Oath of Initiation, Unidentified Secret Order, Secret Treaty of Vienna, Goodbye USA, Hello New World Order, FEMA, Federal Emergency Management, Anti-Drug Abuse 1988. Are the sheep ready to steer? Lessons from Illuminati, Coup de Grace, secret government, high treason in high places. Proposal constitutional model for the new states of America. Protocols of Elders of Zion. The story of Jonathan May. Documentation U.S. Army intelligence connection with Satanic Church. My gosh. William Cooper's military service record. Look at this, Tanya. Index C, down the bottom of chapter 17. Is on about UFOs and Area 51 and alien implants. What was that? Page 45. Let's see how quick I can get down that. No, 400. Right down the bottom. Try not to watch, might make you dizzy. Me scrolling down. Oh my gosh. 445. My gosh. Never thought I'd find the book. It is a world of control, Daniel. I can do it any quicker. My computer's been hacked already. Was it 445? Oh my goodness me, there's drawings in this book. My evidence of my, I've got to look at this. Oh my gosh. Okay, found it. That's 456, one above. What page is this? Oh my lord. What did it say in that chapter? What was this? Have a look. There's two things about a biological agent field I would like to mention. One is possibly technology surprises. Biology is a field and it's advancing very rapidly. Biologists believe that within a period of 5 to 10 years, it would be possible to produce a sympathetic biological agent that does not naturally exist, for which no natural immunity could have been acquired. 1969, page 446. Before the World Health Organization required, the United States Defense Department requested 10 million to make the AIDS virus. In the, I can't quote on the channel what this evidence is, in the labs between 1974 and 1975. Oh my gosh. I can't read that out. So put it down there. Then we can read this to see if I can expand it up. Oh my gosh. Declassified documents these are. How long have they had implants for? Oh my gosh, she's got a book about the Illuminati and Freemasonry. I knew it. Oh my gosh, the third edition, dated 1798 in Philadelphia. Club of Rome of the Global World System Evidence Strategy Report 1973 dated a computer model of the world economic system has been developed and validated by the extensive set of data. The model has two levels, micro and macro. On the macro level, model of each region includes a gross regional product, total imports and exports, capita, labour, productivity, various components, final demands, public consumptions. They had all this manufactured long time ago. The world population model has been constructed in terms of the same regions as an economic model. They've been doing this a long time. Food production and available land use model has been constructed, allows assessment of a number of food-related issues. They've been controlling this a long time ago. Symbolism of a man, a computer. Oh my God. Page 452. The major concern application of the computer model is proper utilization as to avoid dependence on aspects of model operation. In order to avoid this, is interactive model of a computer simulation analyst has been developed. Oh my God, I'll be back. I'll come back to read this. My God. Everything I've been researching for years is all true. Everything I've been researching for years is all true. Oh my God. Everything I've been researching for years is all true. Oh my God. Everything I've been researching for years is all true. Oh my God. Everything I've 9:30 UK time. Oh my God. Oh, shoot. There you go. How did you know this? Implementation to different parts of the world and the connection via satellite communication network. Club arraigns 10 global groups where they are. Great Britain's one of them. Iceland, of course. Norway. Switzerland. I won it. Russia's not on it. Group 2. Canada. The North America section. Spain group. South. The reset of the development market economics. Quotes where it is. Australia, Israel, New Zealand. Japan is the head. Group 3, Group 4. Tunisia. Group 5. Oh, it has got Eastern Europe. Soviet Union. Group 6, Latin America. Group 7, Middle East. Kuwait, Egypt, Iran. They're all part of it, look. Group 8. It's always been part of it. Every part of Earth. No stone left unturned. Every part of Earth. They got a map. Top of Rome. They're all located. When Prime Minister of Israel forecast a world war from Jerusalem, 1962, before I was born. Who knew all this? All this research in this book. The Image of the World was done in 1987. You want to hack me now, do you? Okay, I'm just check the stream. Wow. Cold War will be something of the past. Internal pressure of the constantly growing and something in Russia for more freedom, and the pressure of the masses for rising their living standards may lead to a gradual demoralization of the sovereign union. On the other hand, the increasing influence of the workers and farmers, the rising political importance of men of science may transform the United States into a welfare state with a planned economically Eastern Europe will become a federation of automated states having a socialist and democratic regime, with the exception of Russia. Oh, look what they're doing with the war in Russia, eh? Makes you wonder. That was 1987. Look what's going on in Russia now. Look at what's been going on the past 2 years. The Kremlin. Wow. with all other continents will become united in a world alliance. At worst disposal will be international police force run by the UN. There you go. Defund the police. Oh, all armies will be abolished. There will be no wars. In Jerusalem, United Nations will build a shrine of prophets to serve the Federation Union of all continents, and this will seat the Supreme Court of mankind to settle all disputes among the federated continents, as prophesied by Isaiah. Higher education will be the right of every individual in the world. A pill to prevent pregnancy will slow down the explosion of natural increase in China, India. By 1987, the average lifespan will reach 100 years. Military exchange. This is 1998. Everything that you research, you find out to be true in the end. And William Cooper got it into this book. If anyone can't get the book and download it and read it, and then do what you can to be prepared, practically and spiritually. Okay, someone was on my channel earlier. It's their channel. Its channel. No title, what it is. Has it better been a car?
All right, so the truck has to go back in the shop. Yeah, the truck has to go back in the shop on Monday. So I just spent another $800 in parts and then another $800 in labor to fix this other situation with the vehicle. It's all maintenance, and it's better to get it done now before the market crashes and your money isn't worth shit and you can't get the parts. But anyways, I'm over here and sitting in front of the Goodwill, and I show up, and everyone else has to show up. You guys, you have to understand, I'm still fucking functioning in society. I'm still fucking functioning, motherfuckers. Do you understand? Like, I have a lot of shit going on, and I'm still functioning as a human. You know what I'm saying? I still have to, even though I'm receiving all kinds of shit, like, I have a lot of shit going on. And, I don't know. It's just, people don't understand your situation, okay? They don't know what you're going through. It's just like me sitting here trying to explain shit to you right now. Why? You don't know what I'm going through. Your turbo diesel isn't fucked. Right? You fucking clueless. You don't know everyone's specific situation. Everyone has a different problem, okay? We have different problems. The same, I mean, maybe the same problem at different times, but still. I'm just talking. I'm expressing myself. So I'm here for another 30 days. The bike's still for sale. And I'm putting another it was $1,600 into the vehicle on top of the $4,000. So it's like, that's probably what I'll get for the bike. Yeah. I'll probably get $5,700 for it. I'm asking $6,500.
What happened to
I went and got the alignment checked on the truck, and the guy said I need parts. And I looked underneath the truck, and yes, there's some fucked up shit going on. That's why I went and got the alignment done, or inspected, because I'm like, something's not right. Yeah, it doesn't feel right. Yeah, I need parts. So after I just spent $4,000 on a turbo, I mean, I'm complaining, but I'm just saying, this is regular maintenance on these Dodge Cummins diesels they're really heavy on the front, but I have 130,000 miles on the vehicle. It's regular maintenance, but I have more wear and tear on my vehicle. Like, people driving to work and back in their Cummins diesels. I'm all over the fucking United States in my Cummins diesel. I've been up in Bridgeport, California. I was up in some shit like.
that was fun.
I'm designing my classroom. Well, I found some magnets, but I just made these. I haven't been to the store yet. I just made these ones as examples of what I'm going to do. Like, I got a little camera so you guys can be watched, showing that somebody has their phone out. And then we'll set up the law enforcement over here, right?
Target individual.
And we could represent the aviation, right? I got the aviation All right, I'm just going to go over telepathy really quick. Because, yeah, I don't know how to explain this stuff. This is like really weird stuff to explain. I put this book up here because this was written by, you can't even really see it because I'm so zoomed out right now. But here, let me just grab it real quick so you can see that these are PhDs and MDs here. Okay. Try to get the clear out there.
That's just one example.
Okay, because this helps.
Of a target individual, unfortunately.
Presentation. But I'll probably get 5,500 or something. Yeah, so the bike should cover.
That's true. who's that talking? It was another earlier Tanya. Was she's a woman. She's got a channel, and she's having problems herself. She's a TI. Whoops, where is that more chat? Hold on a minute. I'll just check on this channel. It's amazing what you find out, isn't it? Put shivers down my spine, this does. Jesus. Non-playbacks. There's only a number like us, TIs, exactly. Yeah. She was well, she came the first comment in the chat earlier. Don't know what it is now. Wow. Let me just come out of that. Can't believe it, Tanya. Wow. Just come out of that. Can't believe it, Tanya. Wow. Just come out. that like to know things, which I didn't know half this stuff now. I don't know what to say now. Completely shocked. 10 o'clock almost. Okay, so just gotta be careful on the hour. Excuse me. I don't need to do it, so. Said that I can print out 50 pages. (1963) Director, Bureau Intelligence Research, John Edgar Hoover, Director. Advised the Office Coordinator for Cuban Affairs. A group might undertake an unauthorized raid against Cuba, believing that the assassination of President John F. Kennedy might herald a change in US policy, which is not true. Our sources and informants familiar with Cuba's matters in Cuba country is one of the shunned disbelief, even among those who do not entirely agree with the president's policies. Inciting something not only to the US but all the Latin America. These sources know of no plans for unauthorized actions against Cuba. Right. Now, former who has furnished reliable information in the past, who is close to a pro-Castro group in somewhere, was that? Can't read it. Or the president may result in strong representative measures being taken against them. Although pro-Castro in their findings regret this assassination. What date was that? I can't read it. Substance of the foregoing information was orally furnished George Bush of the Central Intelligence Agency at the time in America, CIA, and somebody else of the Defense Agency on November the 23rd, 1963. And so this was printed in this book. This is December 19, I can't read the date. So 29th of 1963, November, John Edgar Hoover, director, assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Our Miami, Florida office, 1963, advised the office of Coordinator Cuban Affairs in Miami. Department State feels some misguided anti-Castro group might capitalize on the president's situation and undertake an unauthorized raid against Cuba. Believing the assassination of President F. Kennedy might hear a change in U.S. policy, which is not true, so he's reprinted it. Another declassified document. Detectives revealed that agency had a report that the Patriot statement in 1961 he would kill President Kennedy if he got near him. What? 1963 advised that George Bush, a reputable businessman, furnished information to the effect that James Parrott has been talking of killing the president when he comes to Houston. We seek service at Houston, Texas. What? I saw it in the book. It's not me. It's still the subject, New World Order, the report. No, it's about survival of the species, about wars. Gotta watch the time. Imperial Japanese mission. Endowment of International Peace. Let me just get our decrease this document. So yeah. Oh my gosh, look at the year. The Imperial Japanese Mission, 1917. Reception throughout the United States, a special mission. And that we are fighting this war today for the purpose of driving out war permanently. This is a great object for our entering into the war, or one of the great objects. I am sure that it is one of yours. It was a great relief to us, a great relief to the civilized world, that when this war broke out, you were in your position of primacy upon the Pacific, there to guard effectively against the diplomatic something that might have taken place if Germany had been permitted to do as she was disposed to do in China. What's that about? For the service that you rendered in that respect, the world is indeed your debtor. That you rendered that respect the world. But the idea that I think we should also have in mind, as well as winning the war, as well as prosecuting it to successful finish, is this: we are not engaged in this war. Let us realize the ties that bind. Let us realize that brothers in war should be brothers in peace. And what we have at interest in the war will also have interest in times of peace. Brackets as highlighted. Someone remarked, the best way to unite all nations on this globe would be an attack. Oh, look at this. My gosh. Someone remarked that the best way to unite all nations on the globe would be an attack from some other planet. In the face of such an alien enemy, people would respond with a sense of their unity, of interest and purpose. We have the next thing to that at the present time. Before a common menace. North and South America, there's the Orient, have done an unheard of thing, a wonderful thing, a thing which it may well be future history would point us to the most significant thing these days of wonderful happenings. What is it then? The joint forces. What do they mean by that? B and C. Declassified documents. Well, I can't spend hours going through this big stream like this. But these documents, or these plans behind the scenes in 1997. Let's get out of this. So I found it on this website. and download it for free. Oh, there's an autopsy in 2011. 11 pages. Why can't they leave people alone? They target people. Gunshot. 4 gunshots. A gunshot to the head. The death of the man due to the gunshot wounds and perforation of the heart. A gunshot wound to the head with a fractured skull caused the death of this man as a homicide murder, as a specialist forensics pathologist report. A Bill Cooper, God rest his soul. Examination. Post-mortem examination evidence. Why did they kill him? Why did they have to kill a brilliant man that was no threat to nobody? Telling the truth. My Lord. I am not shocked ever again what they've done to my family and others and target individuals around the world. Yeah. No. This is all being planned. This is all being planned. Before, Tanya, you were born, I was born. What did your late father know? You know? What did they know? What did they know? So there you go. This website, I think, could be their families or friends of them, kept up this website hours of your time, and that's where you find this information as well. to this individual as an individual to keep the website going. I'm not sure this page will load. No, it won't. The World Freedom Network. Let's see if I can get hold of that. No. Don't know if I've got a player. Does it cost? Is it free? Well, I won't download it yet. Okay, let's go back. Back to educateyourself.org. I think I've been here 2 hours. So that's originally where you find the link to what you'll find the book. Okay.
Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a big idea, and it's not new in the making. Those of you who think that George Bush coined that phrase, or he's the only one over the years that has uttered that phrase, you just haven't been paying attention. Adolf Hitler used virtually the same term, ladies and gentlemen. Stalin used virtually the same term. It has been used throughout history many times by many different people, all meaning exactly the same thing. When I was in the United States Navy, ladies and gentlemen, I was attached to the Office of Naval Intelligence for a period of approximately 5 years during my naval career. I had been 4 years in the United States Air Force with the Strategic Air Command, and was in the United States Navy about 11 years. And during that stint was attached to the Office of Naval Intelligence, where I learned most of the information that set me on a course to find out what was really happening to this country. Was as a member of the intelligence briefing team for the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet, who at that time was Admiral Bernard Clary. I saw documents that usually only a very few people would ever see and would never see all of these different operations and programs and projects all at once, as I and the other members of the briefing team did.
Wow.
Now, let me explain to you how security clearances work in the government. There is no such thing, ladies and gentlemen, as above top secret. When you hear people talking foolishly about 23 levels above top secret, they're lying to you. There's not even one level above top secret. Top secret is the highest level of classification of information in the United States government and the military service. There are sub-compartmentalizations of the classification of top secret. For instance, if you have a project that you don't want anybody to know about, even if they do have a top secret clearance, then you classify it by compartmentalizing. An example of such a project might be building the B-2 bomber, where each person would only want to know just exactly what they had a need to know. So each person would be compartmentalized under top secret in an area that would give him or her only access to that particular piece of information or equipment that they were building or making or helping to assemble in order to produce the B-2 bomb. So the classification for building brakes may have been top secret wall flood. It could be anything. And the people who had a top secret clearance, who are working on that particular piece of information that had to do with wall flood, could only see that information and nothing else. Because to be able to see information that had something to do with top secret roof, if you didn't have that roof clearance added to your top secret, you would not be able to see that information. I'm just making these things up to give you some idea of what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh.
While I was on the briefing team of the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet, I noticed one thing. All of the members of the briefing team and everybody who had anything to do with intelligence were members of at least one or more of the so-called secret societies known to most of us as fraternal organizations. I wondered how I was assigned to the Office of Naval Intelligence until I began to remember how I had filled out my forms to get my security clearance. It came to a page that folded out like some of the computer paper that goes through a printer. It's all attached. You can have 5,000 feet of computer paper if you want to. Well, this was the form that folded out like that, and I forget how many sheets of paper there were included that were attached like this, all folded up, that contained the list of just about every kind of organization that you can imagine, ladies and gentlemen. And I was supposed to check or indicate any of those organizations that I had ever belonged to in my life. And cautioned me that if I left out any organization that I had ever been a member of, that I would risk losing or not obtaining my security clearance. Well, security clearance when you work in the government or in the military is a big thing, folks, and nobody wants to lose their security clearance or be denied a security clearance. It's shameful, as a matter of fact. And so I know
my penny's worth to this now. Okay. So I've got the document downloaded. Right, 500 pages worth. So his mother and father, this is. It's quite a young couple, isn't it? So he said his father really in the military. Can you remember the pilots gathering around the kitchen table talking about the planes and telling stories. Sometimes they discuss strange things called flights or UFOs. Do you hear that? When we were lucky, they got out the projector and showed some slides. That was a special treat by that time, and William Cooper in this says he was 8 years old. I think I'd already seen and had been inside every plane for the Air Force with the Army and Air Force ever owned. I had flown in several, and I've seen many of them crash, and had friends who had lost their lives. So I'll go into the stream now. Wow. Go to my stream, I should say. That would help, wouldn't it? Get out of this now. Right. So let me just get out of this. Oh. What else do I have now? Alright, I can stop. Turn it back.
Alright, I can stop. Alright, I can stop. Alright, I can stop.
There we go. Well, what can I say now? Mind control of the world populace. Oh yeah, Tanya. Definitely. Oh, yeah. This has been planned before we were born and before your family were born, Tanya. Yeah, microwave technology. Just got to check to see how long I've been streaming now. I've used up the 3 hours, the first hours on this, I think. And then I've got to set up back up this stream. You know, this is what I used to pay for before my other channels got took down. Oh, there's only a number of us TIs, exactly. This is where, you know, like my little icon. This is where they, I don't know what this audio is for. React. Oh, let's have a look. After it was such a feature. Yeah, £15 a month. I don't know why I need to set this up because when they took the other channels down. This is just a pre-version at the moment, which you're only allowed to stream a certain amount of hours. So I need to get the pro version. But until I know what's going on with my financial situation, I can't do anything about it right now. But this was just a test, really, to see if this channel can go live. And using this stream app. And knowing what we know now, you know, this is all links. I mean, this is like going back before the whole world. It's a stage, the whole world stage. Yeah. Oh, Tanya, I found out they public servants, you know, the gaslighting and the mess me about. So just another way to, I just had some storage of food anyway. More letters went off after the phone call. Some public servant decided to change, which doesn't add up because of paperwork I've got. Having the new bank details and meant to pay it into that, but they hadn't been doing that into my post office account, card account. And now I've had no letter. On top of the 10th of March 2022, it didn't say anything about changing the weekly payments to fortnightly and losing a week. So having to wait a week before the fortnightly payment in arrears. And when they tried that on end of last year, sent all the letters off beginning of this year, just after I was robbed. Yeah. And they didn't respond. I was still getting weekly payments. So the letter didn't even add up. And so I was getting weekly payments. I assumed everything was fine until they stopped it on Monday. On the phone, it's like apparently the post office, the contract with UK system doesn't end till November this year. What's all the rush to get people's bank details from what it used to pay into and then stopping? Come on. So when I found out, I got the call recorded. Somebody behind the scenes made a decision to revert it back to every fortnight. What? So all my old documents of 2017 to date doesn't even say anything like that. It's always been the offer of every week from my circumstances. So I just thank goodness I've been prepared for anything. As a TI, you need to. So I'd had some bit of cash, got a bit of food. I haven't been able to pay none of my bills. So good job I built up gas and electric over the period of months. So I haven't been able to finance this week's for that. So they claimed it'd be in the bank on Monday. Well, I've got some savings cash just to cover just some small bits I need to pay for. And if it isn't in on Monday, then I've got all this. I'll be working on a document. If the BS don't come through the post tomorrow, again, it will be the fifth rebuttal of these public servants messing me about on the other subject. It's all a part of this bigger picture of Bill Cooper's. He dug up a long time ago, and I'd only realised how advanced this technology is now. And I mean, how humanity on this earth is being dumbed down in every regard. How much of these implants now are in so many people? How much are their souls been taken over by as you heard earlier, the cloning technology, the demonic. These subjects are not singularized, it's all interlinked. The financial system. I mean, the targeted subject is like, it's not singularized, it's all linked together. Like the it makes sense with the experimentations of the biotechnology, the medical experimentations of the human biology without consent. It makes sense why the advancement here we are, and the future advancement is AI, transhumanism. It makes sense why they're pushing for the implantation and the Neuralink and the brain. The brain is the new data source of wealth, the human brain, collecting our data with big corporations and then messing about with the genome, the human genetics, the nanotechnology, the nanotech, how nano this technology is. And then, like, you got, before, he was ahead of his times, Bill Cooper. I haven't come across many people like him with the knowledge he got out all those years ago. You've got quite a few people since, but not in the format he's got it out. The documents, declassifications of CIA and evidence goes back before I was born, then period before my late mum was born. So the genetics of targeted program goes through families, doesn't it? So, and the program isolation part of it, to isolate you from your family. It's part of what I was just briefly reading on of Bill Cooper's book, just briefly outlining it. And it makes sense where it goes into originally about the mind, but it's a biotechnology, isn't it? The brain, the advancement of brain interface now is off the charts. So then you're talking about back in history, well, he was in the Navy and his family were. So they had privy to information, top secret information, didn't they? So of course now people only just realising, aren't they? So there is a On a positive note, I'll end this on, try to. Is it, like you said and your sister said, Tanya, this is a spiritual war. There's no other way. That you know, to take the God, to take the human soul captures, like so many authors out there, after the soul, after the human soul, the spirit. And so they become just like robots, with psychopaths, heartless. And like within part of the book and Donald Marshall, part of the interview, I'll listen to it later. I'm just going to rest up now and switch off. And I watched 2 movies, Tanya, last night. There's nothing else I could do, I was exhausted. And it predicted everything that's taken place. And what I watched in the movies, period, it was like End of Times, a Christian movie. And it was dated 1981. There was 2 versions I've watched now. And it predicted where we are. So for all those already living off grid, self-sufficiency, which is the way to go. And unfortunately, how does that work out when you're not able physically to do that? Or practically or financially because of disabilities or old age? Whatever it might be. Or people's lost their jobs, they don't have the finance to do that. Okay. James, this is evil. The world is demonic. Yeah, so James Wally, hello. There's a difference between exposing evil with real spirituality. Hold on, let's have a read. With real spirituality and believing in a bunch of jabby do Christianity bullshit. Well, that's your entitlement to your opinion. Totally entitled to. King James Bible. Yes, there are different ones, definitely. The Bible isn't the first text to predict any of it's not crap. I would suggest anybody that wants to, and I'll keep your comment there, by the way. So, freedom of speech and all that. So, it's not bullshit, it's fact, and it's up to the mindset of the individual to actually research. As I said, Bill Cooper, educateyourself.org. If you want to in your own time, and you'll find out the facts for oneself. Yeah, exactly, Tanya. Exactly. You see, there's so many people going through so much themselves and they don't realise what's really behind it until they do the research. Yeah. But you see, I wasn't raised in the Bible, the King James Bible. But when you look into Mormonism and the foundations and Freemasonry and the connections with that, and when you look at the historic 1700s, you go back into the period time and see where we are now. It is not just for it's not just for humanity. It's not for the common good. It's an illusion. It's satanic. And then you got the underground dumbs. And then you've got the child sacrificing, the satanic ritual abuses going on. And yet, what you think of the real world, so to speak, in brackets, is not what you think it is at all. What the evil forces do is crap, but 1,000s of centuries knew this before any Christian. Oh my goodness me, so true. So true. The ancient history, the ancient civilizations did. Definitely. And when you read, I find that fascinating actually, the history. Because when you look at the history before, look what Christianity did. You know, they also go back in history. I studied the period of AD, BC era when I was a kid growing up as well. The Israelites, the ancient Egyptians, pharaohs. I did all the studying over Middle East, the original Middle East. I've still got my certificates. So yeah, I learned all about that and how, yes, Christians, different religions and infighting and the different. It was fascinating actually when I started my basic history at school and college, but then as an adult, by the research, by things I just come across and cross-referencing it, and then finding a lot of information, for example, today, in somebody that did his more research than I've known anybody to do. So yeah, he goes into the Christianity point, goes back into centuries old, and how that was infiltrated. You got the Knights Templar, you got the different dominations as well. So yeah. Oh right, thank you. I just got 1 more hour left. Thank you, Tanya. Anyway, I think it's each to their own, whatever you want to take for it. You know, the world we're living in, it's what we make of it best we can. We've all got a different opinions and walks of life. Trials and tribulations, you can lose everything you got overnight just like that. And you got psychopaths out there that just want to make your life a misery because it's in their soul, it's in their nature, so you just don't give them energy. It's not worth it because you only got one life. You do what you can to make the most of it. We know that too well, don't we, Tanya? James, Wally, hope you're well. Keep yourself well. You're entitled to have your opinion. How have you been yourself? Okay, so that's it for now. Yeah, exactly, Tanya. Unless it happens to them, we have no idea what we go through. Individuals, you're either being a targeted individual or you're not. And it's not just the definitions of that's the word. And it, yeah. And you soon find out the hard way. And a lot of people in this world do not know, do they, really? And especially with 40 patterns of the mind control technology, especially the ones starting with Project Paperclip 1940. And then you got the period of the Nazis from the war years. That was a really good documentary I saw on that one. That's fascinating. So yeah, it's just brings all, because if you don't start with a past history, and if you just take things at face value, and you don't look behind, you don't open your mindset and look behind things and educate oneself, and don't obviously take things at face value, You just got to be careful you don't go too many rabbit holes and just stick to the subject in hand that you're interested in. And then you'll find what's true to one's own situation. And then you look at the measures to keep going on in the times we're living in. Times of financial increases in energy prices. Well, people knows what's really behind all this. And then you've got the future technology with all these sci-fi movies come out a long time ago. Has been telling us what's going to happen. So it's a bit like the Fifth Element movie. You got the technology in there where you really good movie. Script is very good. And but yet you got the flying cars, you got the pre-crime, pre-thought, Majority Report's a bloody good movie. And then you just see, you look around you now, if the technology is already here for this to happen. In the late 90s, when I met that friend of mine who designed the electric mini rail for this town, and his business partner, both of them, bid, to get a military, mini version set up. So you get rid of taxis, and you just get into this like a mini rail on a track, and you put your 50p in, and this miniature electrical computerized controlled, and it takes you wherever it wants on these tracks. And when I saw the prototypes and the designs in the late 90s, well, at the time the political people in the area turned it all down, but they took their invention to Dubai. So over Middle East and Dubai, they'd profited. So, and he was from an elite family, extremely wealthy, well connected, and travelled the world, and a different class altogether. So he was a very kind gentleman, and educated on a lot of subjects and language. The Chinese language, and Pacific one in business, because he's a businessman at the time. I knew him. Welcome. You're welcome, Tanya. Blessings to you. Exactly. All right, for now, I've got to go 3 hours. So signing up. God bless and take care.